Hi, welcome to our limited series called Christmas Vacation, where we're looking at the film Christmas Vacation, where we're talking about some life lessons and things we need to know about Christmas, based upon this Christmas classic film starring Chevy Chase and friends, produced by John Hughes. It's easy to watch Christmas Vacation and the madcap hilarity that ensues and think to yourself, wow, I wonder how much of that they improvised. In other words, that's that moment where you're watching and you go, that's just so funny and it seems so natural. Did they just wing it? Because there's a lot of the film that says, yeah, kind of looks like they did. Because we're peeling back the layers behind the scenes on this film, here's what you need to know. They didn't. They didn't improvise. As a matter of fact, most of what you see on the screen ran exactly as the script dictated. Were there some variances? Of course there were. That classic scene where Chevy Chase is furious at his boss and calls him all sorts of names that we couldn't reproduce for this particular show, and a lot of things that never make it to the edited versions, but are wild and crazy and obnoxious and rude. He goes on an incredible riff against his boss and he calls him all sorts of names. Even that, although it looks like it's not scripted, it was. And the way that they pulled it off is all the other actors basically held cue cards with one-liners on them. All Chevy Chase had to do was just go back and forth. And so when you see him doing this manic turn back and forth as he begins pacing the room, he's actually reading off cue cards that the other actors are holding up, trying to get his attention to spark the memory in his mind of the line that he's supposed to deliver. So it comes across as very improv, out of control, but very much controlled. As a matter of fact, one of the only scenes that was improvised without a whole lot of thought and a whole lot of setup was the scene where Chevy Chase is walking with Randy Quaid and they're talking about how the Griswolds are going to help Cousin Eddie with his family for Christmas. And so as they're picking up stuff in the store, that is where they gave Randy Quaid the opportunity to do a little improv on his own and just grab anything that he could find in the scene, so much so they decided it would be funny to take a big old bag of 50-pound dog food, and if you watch the film real carefully, he throws it right on top of the Christmas lights that Clark Griswold has laid in there. Plops it right on top of it. They didn't know it was coming. They held it together. It was funny. It was improv. But one of the few times that they improv'd it, they stuck with the script, and it worked. There is a lot of life that we all know we make up as we go. But there are also some parts of our life that need to be very, very scripted. When you read the story of Christmas, it's easy to think how wild and crazy and frightening and overwhelming that first Christmas must have been for Mary and Joseph as they navigate all those things. But believe it or not, that first Christmas happened exactly as God had scripted it. Because God's always in control, and He knows what your life holds. As a matter of fact, the Bible talks about the fact that your life is running on a script, if you will. Each day of your life is planned before you were 1 day old. And so each day you turn a page and you live out the life that God has scripted for you to live. Do you have choices? Of course you do. But the plan of God always has been that you would become the person that you were created to be, and that you would live your life by the script that He created for you. See, we get in trouble sometimes when we try to ad-lib at the wrong times, the wrong place, and the wrong way. For these actors, they believed so much in the script and what they were trying to communicate that as much fun as it would have been to ad-lib their way through the scene, they realized that if they could pull off what was written in the scene, it would be funnier. They stuck to the script. Sometimes in life, it's okay to stick to the plan. I'm a guy who likes to wing it a lot, no doubt about it. And one of the hardest lessons for me to learn is just do what you're supposed to do. Parents tell their kids that all the time, will you just do what you're supposed to do? Teachers say to students, will you just do the assignment? And God says to us, will you just be who I created you to be? If so, you'll be honoring the Christ of Christmas, and you might find that your celebration of life is better, more fun, and more exciting. Not just to you, but to the people around you. Think about that. A lesson that we learned from Christmas Vacation.